presents Focus on the Goal, a show about youth soccer. Let's raise the game.
And we're rolling. How we doing? We're back. Here with Dan Miller today. Dan, thank you for being here. I appreciate you. What's up? What's up? But no, I appreciate you taking your time to be here with me today. Just have a fun chat, you know. But your background isn't even soccer.
I have no background in soccer.
No background in soccer, but we're here.
We're here,
which is crazy, you know. But I appreciate you. I appreciate everything you do for me. That's a whole different story. We'll get into that later. But you're involved here at Next Level. Background's not even soccer. You know, O-Town. It's your bands. Tell me about it. There's a lot of stuff that I don't even know about you and that side of it.
You're too young to understand all this stuff.
Was
Okay.
it early 2000s, right?
So, okay, I'll just give you the whole story because you're young.
All right, tell me. All right. I'm waiting.
I was, first of all, I got started on one of the first reality shows that was ever on network television.
Okay.
We had a show called Making the Band that aired on Friday nights on ABC and MTV. Making the Band was like, it aired the week before Survivor aired for the first time. So we were the first reality show on like a major network in primetime television.
Crazy.
We were on Friday nights on ABC.
Sure.
That was a big old nationwide talent search where like it was kind of like American Idol before American Idol, but it was more of a documentary style, like from the creators of Real World.
Sure.
Long story, but the show chronicles the formation of the band from whatever, how many people auditioned, 2,500 down to the 5 that made the band. From there, I went on to sell several million records. I think we're at like 3 million records worldwide.
It's amazing.
Yeah, it's pretty cool. I have to pinch myself when I think about it now.
Yep.
And I still tour. I still do. I'm a regular parent in the pickup line at school or a parent at the fields out here during the week.
Yep.
And then on the weekends I go and I do like 60 shows a year.
Crazy.
Yeah.
Crazy. Where do you travel? Is it just all like locally, like within the US, or is it?
We've gone everywhere. So the band split up in 2004 for no other reason than we were just tired. We needed a break from like 2000 to 2004. We worked about 320 days a year, just like traveling everywhere. Go, never a break.
Yep.
I think that's part of the reason why we were so successful, because we never said no. It was like, they need you to come do this. It's free, but it'll be good for promotion. Yep. We were there and we did it. And we had to.
Yep, of course.
But then by the end of that 4 years, we were dead. Yeah. And so at the time when you're in your early 20s, we were like, you know what, let's just take a break.
Yep.
We'll take a break. Everybody just go do their own thing. And that break turned into like a 10-year hiatus. Sure. It wasn't meant to be like that. There was no animosity with the guys. We kind of, we never had like a big breakup or some massive fight that kind of led to that point.
Yep.
However, like it still led to like a 10-year hiatus.
Sure.
But when we got back together in 2014, we've continued touring all this time. We've had, when we first started, maybe it was 20 shows a year. I'm up to about 60 shows this year.
That's impressive. That's crazy.
Yeah.
Well, it's cool because like I feel like I see you all the time here at the facility, at the fields, and it's like, there's that whole other side to you and your world of what you do. Like I don't even really like get to be involved in or know about.
I don't like to.
You don't like to mix them.
Well, it's not that I don't like to mix them, but for a long time, like people treated me like super weird. Sure. Like right after the band ended, it was like, people would say the most awkward things to me in public that made me just kind of go like, I made me just want to have like normal interaction with people. Yeah. And at heart, I'm just like a normal person.
Yep.
And it's funny that because I jump around on stage and I'm a maniac when I'm on stage, but I actually don't like attention off the field.
Sure.
I kind of like to just be a normal person. So when the band ended, I kind of craved normalcy.
Yep.
I didn't want to go back out in the world and be front facing anymore.
Sure.
But people would say the weirdest things. They would just come up to me randomly in awkward situations. They'd be like, oh yeah, like, but you probably got like $1 bazillion, so you don't need to do this. Or I remember one time I was at like a family gathering and one of the neighbors came over and he said something like, he was trying to like have a conversation and he would just be like, so like what? So like you're not doing it anymore because like you just couldn't cut it or something? Like stuff like that that you would never say to like a normal person in regular conversation. So I just started like treating it like a normal. I just tried to like avoid it as much as possible. So people like, so what do you do for a living? Oh, I work in music. I'm like, what do you do? Huh? A whole bunch of stuff.
Like generic umbrella.
Right. I would just kind of keep it like that for as long as I could. And some people were persistent and they would ask the right questions and I'd get there. But most of the time I was able to avoid it.
Yeah. No, I love that. No, that's, and I feel like, I remember when I first became a coach here at Next Level, when I first joined, I had my 2015 boys teams. I remember some of my 2015 boys moms were like, it was when we had our signing day that first year, like over a year ago, a year and a half ago or whatever it was. And my first time doing the signing day here at the club. And some of my moms were like, Danny, is that O-Town Dan Miller? And I'm like, and at the time I had no idea. So I was like, what? Like, obviously that was before my time and I wasn't really aware. And I'm like, and then like over the next week or so, I kind of learned all the dots. I'm like, oh, like, that's so like, I learned more. So
it happens all the time. The very first week that my son was in club soccer at a different club, we walked up to the field and I had asked some emails. I went back and forth with the coach before tryouts about some things because I was hesitant about having my son play only club soccer. So we had a little bit of relationship back and forth and he took my curiosity as like, he was like, oh, this guy would be a perfect team manager. Right. And so he asked me like, hey, like, I think you'd be a good team manager. Like this is what's required of you and this is what you would do. And I was like, honestly, like I'm a touring musician. So I can't do it.
Yeah.
And he was like, okay, all good. We moved on. 6 months later, we're leaving practice one night and he's like, so like, what's this musician thing that you're talking about? Like, what do you mean? Well, like, what is that? And I said, well, like, and I kind of drew it out for as long as possible until I was like, actually, I'm in a tour in a band called O-Town. And his face like goes like, his eyes light up. He's like, are you serious? I literally have your CD in my car right here. My wife has it in the little thing that comes down from the visor. And like, that happens all the time.
Yeah.
So again, I try not to carry myself or even put it out there.
Sure.
I've gotten to the point now where I don't mind talking about it. I can have a good conversation with people. I think it helps being involved in the soccer club too. Is like there's something else I can go on. So I can always I can divert it. I can steer it to other things if I want to, but ultimately, it's a crazy ride and it still goes on. I mean, look, we could go, there's stories. I mean, I was when I say super famous, I don't know what super famous is.
Sure.
But I was very well known for 4 years. And so some of the stuff that I did over those 4 years, packed into those 4 years, it's like, you can't even like comprehend some of those things.
Yeah.
Like I'm talking like one of the first times I met some of my wife's extended family.
Sure.
We went over and her aunt and uncle live in New Jersey in this massive house. We go over to the house. It's Thanksgiving weekend.
Yep. So
we pull up to the table and the family's asking me questions. So Dan, what do you do? And I'm like, I'm a tour musician. I'm a singer in a band. And they're like, well, what do you mean? Like you just tour locally? You're in like a little rock band? I was like, no, actually I was on the Macy's Thanksgiving Day parade this morning. And then like, really? And I was like, yeah, like, well, how did your band get started? Well, actually, if you turn on MTV, they're running a 24-hour marathon of our reality show that's been chronicling every single step of the process. So like, I have stories like that after stories of just these crazy things that we've done over the years that most of the time I don't even talk about because one, I either forgot because it was just a blip in time in those 4 years and it happened so fast. Or I don't want to, or I'm happy to move on and talk about other things.
Absolutely. That makes sense.
Yeah.
No, I love it. One of my favorite things that we like to do when we'd have like little events here or like when we do the Just Play days now called The Crown, we're playing music and stuff. And when, I don't know who does it, whether it's Josh or Paler or somebody else, where they throw a sneaky all or nothing, which I think is probably your biggest song that your biggest hit.
Yeah. It's the only reason that we're able to still tour to this day. Like the truth is like First of all, I don't know who puts it on.
Yeah, I don't know.
It's
like,
not.
no, it's not you. I
It's
know
not
it's not you.
appreciated. Like I said, I don't really like the attention.
No, I know.
However,
But it is funny. I find it funny.
I've actually found it. What's helped is being around the kids.
Yep.
Not only my own, but
Yep.
all of the kids in the club right
Yep.
now. Because I see how much enjoyment they get out of it.
Sure.
So when it was just about me, it felt weird. But when I see all the enjoyment that other people are getting from it,
Sure.
that kind of makes it
That
helps.
eases it.
Yeah.
No, that makes sense.
Yep.
Well, talking about that, like, you know, musician, still touring, you know, have your son here that plays for the club. Obviously, you're involved with everything that we have going on. Next Level, helping with the podcast. Like, what's hard about that, like, balance? You know, there might be times you're touring, but you want to watch Major play, you know, like all the time and stuff. So what's that? Like, what's the good and the bad between, like, in that for you?
So life as a touring musician, I don't work as often as I would if I had a normal 9-to-5 job.
Sure.
Right. So these days, a lot of my work happens on the weekends between Thursday and Monday.
Yep.
So I go away for the weekend. The problem is on the weekends, that's when all the games, the tournaments, the dance recitals, the things like that. During the week, I'm here. I like being in practices. I like picking my kids up from school, doing all that kind of stuff. And being a touring musician does allow me that flexibility.
Yeah.
So I have quite a bit of time, right?
That's awesome.
When it comes to that.
Yep.
I can help out with a whole bunch of different things at the club because for most of the year, I'm available Monday through Thursday,
Yep.
Monday through Friday. And in some parts of the year during the slow periods when we're not touring as much, I'm available a lot more.
Yep.
Now, obviously the bad side is I missed last weekend's tournament and I had to watch the whole thing from, you know, on VO, on VO Live. And I'm a maniac when I'm watching in a hotel room by myself or on my phone. And like, I'd almost rather have it flipped so that if I was gone Monday through Thursday and then I was there for the weekends. But it is what it is.
Yeah.
Like I do my best to balance it. I try to do I travel at crazy and weird hours. My bandmates think I'm insane because I take red-eye flights on the way out there to make sure I get a whole extra day with the family before I leave.
Yep.
So if I have a show on Thursday, I take the red-eye flight. So I'll sleep on the plane all night on Wednesday, wake up, try to get a 1-hour power nap in and then perform. And then on the way back, I take the earliest flight out to get home as early as possible. Sometimes it's because if it means I can catch one game that weekend or have that one extra night with the kids to have dinner or watch a movie at home, then I think it's worth it to kind of take that early flight. But I mean, I flew to the Philippines a couple years ago. My bandmates were like, we're going to have like a week there because we're flying all the way over there. I flew over there. I was there for less than 24 hours and I got on a flight and I came back home.
Crazy.
We had the one show. It wasn't easy.
Yeah.
But like, one, how does it look like if I'm telling my wife, I'm going to go have a bros vacation while you're here, like, you know, doing everything kid related. It's just, I'd never felt good about that. So I to this day, I tell my bandmates, like, if we're out on the road, if we're there for 4 days, I want to work all 4 days. I don't want a day off in between. I want to work ourselves to the bone so that when I go home, I don't have to worry about it anymore. Yep. So I don't like having the days off. The days off are worthless to me. So,
no, I mean, for me, kind of, I feel like I'd be in the same kind of mental state as you if I were, I don't know, like a lot of respect for, like, you know, rather than, staying extra days or taking an extra extended vacation, like, you know, like, no, I want to watch my daughter at a recital. I want to watch my son play. I want to be there for my family. Like that family, man, that's awesome. There's a lot of respect for that. Speaking of Major, obviously been playing soccer since, I don't know, probably, you know, could start to talk, you know, where his journey, you know, obviously the reason you're here now, you know, big part of that, played for Coach Paler, and ultimately that transition of starting at Rising, I believe, right? Or was
Thunder, actually.
Thunder before. So Arizona Soccer Club, starting at Thunder, moving over to Rising, then ultimately coming here. That whole journey of what we're at now, like for you kind of being one of the original families / you know, your son being one of the players, like, and I don't know, what was that experience like for you and watching to where Next Level is now? Kind of what was that journey like?
Well,
before he was even Next Level, of course.
Well, first of all, like you said it before. Obviously, we talked about my music background.
Yep.
I have no background in soccer.
Yep.
I didn't play a single lick of soccer growing up.
Yep.
All of the soccer coaches always asked me to play.
Yep.
Because they could tell I was a good athlete. I could run. I was like, I was an unselfish player. I played basketball all growing up.
Sure.
I was, I think I'm a pretty good basketball
Yep.
player. You could ask around. However, and so when my son Major was born, I just assumed this was at the height of LeBron James in Cleveland, which is where I grew up. So
Yep.
like everything was all about basketball. Like we did basketball all the time.
Yep.
You know what I mean?
Yep.
But when he was like 11 months old, we were at the park across the street, and I had this I have this vivid memory of Major. He was 11 months old. He was an early walker. He was like really athletic from the time he was little, and he just put the soccer ball at his feet and started dribbling across the field. And there was this old guy who lived in the neighborhood who walked this big old dog, this German Shepherd, around
Yep.
all the time. And so he saw us there that day, and he goes, "That boy right there is going to be the next future U.S. men's team player on the soccer team." And I'll never forget it, because it was like, I just thought of it as a kid playing, and like, who knows if that happens, but it was
Yeah.
something that like all of a sudden from that point on, like he had a ball at his feet all the time.
Yep.
So he started pretty young with club soccer at another club. I was there about halfway through the first season. Coach Paler moved with his twins. He showed up with his twins at the field because he heard that Thunder was a good club who was run by somebody that he knew. And literally the second he showed up that day, like he was just another parent, but he like talked to me and like talked about Major and some of the other kids like he had been coaching them forever. You know, he's like, he happened to come up while I was talking to the coach after a practice, and he's like, "Is this your son? This your son?" I'm horrible at accents.
Yeah.
I'm horrible.
Paler, cover your ears. No, I'm kidding.
He's like, "Is this your son?" It's like, the way I noticed him straight away, his posture and the way he runs, he's like all balanced, and he's like this, and he's like, you know, he's like
nerding out about it.
Like he's nerding out about it. And literally from that point on, I was with him all the time. I was like, from that point on, they started, Paler became involved, and it was me, Paler, and this other coach, and we essentially became like this team of like assistant coaches for a while.
Yep.
All I did was help at practices. I still, for a long time, I even to this day, I still never want to be the coach. I like being the guy that helps.
Yep.
But that's what we did for forever.
Absolutely.
So when Next Level started, it was only natural for me. I was already spending all of my extra time in my free time at the fields or at Next Level, just like doing it for free, coming in here, just being a mentor, being a positive influence on the kids. That it made sense for me to get involved from an ownership standpoint and try to do whatever. I realized how much of a passion it was for me to be around kids and be somebody who could influence players. And obviously having my son around, and my son being so passionate about it, literally from the time when he started club soccer and he watched the Man City documentary on TV, it's the only thing he's ever thought about. So it was really easy to kind of dive in. So even though I don't have a soccer background, having, because my son was massively into it, I dove in. And, like, I love all sports anyway.
Of course.
So like diving in and learning about it was awesome. And actually, I think not having a soccer background has actually kind of helped me at times. Like once I realized that I didn't have to be insecure about it, once I realized that like where it really hit me was in futsal. I remember going to a futsal tournament one time, and first of all, futsal was always going to make more sense to me as a basketball player because the number of players are exactly the same. But I remember watching how some of the soccer coaches taught futsal and the formations, and how I saw the formations from futsal was slightly different, and how I thought the movements had to be. So I started realizing that like I don't have to be insecure about this. I can listen to what the soccer experts and the soccer people are doing. But then I still have some insight that's valuable and that can help.
Absolutely.
That doesn't mean I'm Pep Guardiola, but what it does mean is like
None of us are.
It gives me I stopped being insecure about it, and that's when I started to like really take it seriously.
Yeah, no, that's, and I mean, when I've listened to you be around those 2012 boys, in particular, of course, because of Major, but like listening to the handful of times being able to kind of hear you, like if you're covering the session or whatever, like, it's so cool and impressive that with no soccer background and just obviously absorbing all the information, you're able to still run a really effective practice and still give the proper guidance and the proper information and stuff just through maybe what you learned through Paler and other coaches through the years. But you also, but like, I mean, obviously the pride, the passion that you have to give, I mean, that's the most important part for a good coach.
I'm competitive too, right? So
course,
like I played sports all my life. So when I go into those sessions, like what I don't have in soccer knowledge or like the technical years and years of history or license or whatever, like I make up for with like just being open-minded to what's going on around me.
Absolutely.
But then also like I'm passionate about it. Like the biggest thing that I connected with in the very beginning was, look, I'm a regular guy from a small town who went to a nationwide audition. And despite like the craziest odds ever, I went on to sell millions of records. Right. Going from a youth league or a club player to the Premier League is crazy odds too. But what I connected with was like, who cares? Like why crush kids' dreams at 6, 7, 8 years old? Because you don't know. You need people who believe in them and push them and tell them that all those things are possible if X, Y, Z happen. Right. And even if X, Y, Z happen, it still takes some luck and some other things. But I thought it was important to have somebody I may not have made it to the Premier League, but I've made it from nobody to millions of records, which is a similarly small odds, right? And so like that's why I got involved, and that's why I still do it to this day, because I think it's important. So I'm underqualified to coach the level of talent that has been on the teams with my son and my son. Like at a certain point, there's only so much I can teach them. But you can't like the energy that I'll bring to any session, the passion, the amount of care I'll put into it.
Absolutely.
Nobody's going to match me in that.
Absolutely.
Like, I'm not going to bring the same thing as every coach. But that's what they need. Like, I feel like too often, the coaches will get caught up in the tactics and 100%. The wins and losses, and forget that like some of these kids are high level players and they're dealing with other stuff outside of like how to remember to receive the ball on their back foot and take their first touch. What they're dealing with is the stress of this is a really high level tournament and everybody really wants to win it. And I'm just realizing right now I have anxiety issues. Right. And you need to be able to you need to recognize that in those kids, and you need to be able to pull them aside and be like, take a deep breath. What can we do to help you in this moment? And how can we work with your parents to help you in the future? Like how can we do this together so that we can solve those problems? Because ultimately that's one of the hurdles you need to overcome to make it to your ultimate goal.
Amen.
Right.
100%.
So I think that's a talent all in itself, finding the little things that all of these kids struggle with. Anger issues, like I said, anxiety, confidence, finding the right, making sure kids don't get down on themselves if they're playing in a position that they don't like or their parents don't want them to play. Like those are things that are super crucial at the younger ages. So by the time they get to 12, they're still playing the sport, number one. They're still having fun. They're not like avoiding coming to practice, not down on at every practice. They're still there, and we can finally start to see where their potential actually is.
Absolutely.
Am I rambling?
No.
Okay.
I mean, yes, but that's the whole point of this, right?
Okay.
No. I mean, like I'm just over here, just like, I don't know, like, yep. Like, just everything you're saying, it's kind of aligns with my philosophy of coaching. And like, yes, I'm competitive. I of course I want to win, but like I've mentioned before in a previous episode, like I'm not going to sacrifice, these players' development or crush confidence in place of getting results and wins in a tournament. like, especially at the younger ages, like, it's all the more reason, like, like, yeah, it's fun. If we win a tournament, I'm excited, I'm happy. But like, if it's, but if in the process I only play a kid 5 minutes in one half, when they're 8, 9, 10 years old, like I'm doing that kid a disservice. And now he's going home going, yeah, we won the tournament, but like I wasn't a part of it.
Well, first of all, you also need the reps, right? So
yes, like exactly.
I've told this story frequently, but the first time that the majors team went to England, and their team was really good. So going to England, it felt like this humongous thing.
Pressure.
But I had this moment before the tournament even started. We were doing a friendly against Stevenage Academy. And I remember like I was so wrapped up. I'm still a young coach, and I'm so wrapped up in what's going on and the pressure that all these kids felt that I remember like it's just, again, in a friendly, and I was a maniac on the sidelines. And I remember looking down, and I looked over and I connected eyes with this coach at Stevenage, and he's just there with his arms crossed, and he kind of looking over me. And I, in that moment, I was like, he thinks I'm insane. Like, he doesn't know why I'm doing this. And then I thought to myself, he's right. Like I had not been in that situation where I knew how to handle the pressure that was going on with that situation.
Sure.
So I know damn well the kids had no clue how to deal with that pressure. Mm-hmm. And not only that, every other parent on the sidelines was probably in the same boat.
Sure.
Like they felt like they spent all this money to come here, and we're going to win this thing, and we're really good in the US, and now we're going to win this thing. But ultimately, like, we all need a little bit of time and grace and reps to learn how to handle all of the things that come with this. And we see it every single day at the club, right? Yeah. The parents of the younger and very talented kids, they're in it, and they're screaming at the refs on the sidelines, and they're doing this until they realize, like, what am I screaming
What
about?
are we doing? Yeah.
Like, of course we want our kids to win, but what really matters? Like, this tournament and the trophy that they get, they're not going to remember that one, but they'll remember something. They'll remember like what the kids were like, the vibe they had when they were with their teammates. They'll remember how the coach talked to them. They'll definitely remember if the coach like embarrasses or belittles them in front of everybody. Those are things that will stick with them forever. Not like, there might be one or two that they remember that tournament, but ultimately they're trying to do everything as a whole.
Yep.
And so like, I don't know, like it does go along with development, but since we started, we're developing players. Yep. But we also kind of have to develop a culture, right? Because the parents have a whole bunch to learn too. I did. Yep. And so there's culture in soccer, whether it's in Arizona or at next level. It's not going to change overnight, but you do need some time to kind of get these people in and let them know that like, this is how it can go. Yep. And this is why we're doing it this way. And this is why, like, maybe everything doesn't have to be treated like a life or death situation.
Absolutely. No, I mean, with kind of what you're saying, like, like I agree with like yelling at referees and all this stuff. Like, it's, even like with, Arizona soccer in the US in general, if we're just talking specifically here at Next Level, like, talking about, the message I like to give my players when I coach, and even my parents, is like, I'm not going to be perfect. I'm going to make mistakes. I might have there's even been times early. I mean, the season's just barely started. We've just had the first few tournaments, and there's been a couple moments where I look back in hindsight and go, maybe I could have done something a little bit different. Or even like at the end of a session, I might be like, that session could have been a little bit more effective, but like I learned from that, whatever. But, but talking about that culture, it's, but that's where you talk about like the insecurity and stuff. Like, I'm confident, like I have the security that like, I know I'm going to make mistakes as a coach sometimes, but like my goal, my mission, my passion, my drive to provide a good product for these kids and to develop these kids, I know I'm good at. So like, I'm not going to be perfect, but like I still will have, a positive impact on these kids, and
it's only natural.
Exactly.
Like, you don't know how many times I've left a practice and I've kept myself up for hours that night because of something that I misinterpreted in a kid, or I got on a kid and then I saw the look in his eyes, and it wasn't until afterwards I realized he didn't understand. I didn't connect with him, and he didn't understand what I was saying. Sure. And that's why he was like that. And and you have to be like, you have to put your ego aside, reach out to those parents afterwards. Hey, like, or reach out to the kid the next day. Like, you know what? That was my bad yesterday. Like, I could have done this better, and we'll work on that for the next time. Like, we're all going to make mistakes.
100%.
We have to.
That's how we learn from them. You know, like if we were perfect, we wouldn't be here. You know, like, if the kids were perfect players, they wouldn't be here. You know, like
the other thing is the pressure. Like, as a coach, you can start to feel pressure from the parents too. You don't know how many times do we hear parents who say, like, in the games, my coach shows no passion. He's not coaching them in the games. Like, I like somebody who's out there and who's doing this. And it's like, yes, to a point, right?
Agreed.
However, you could also go the other way and be like, yeah, but like, the games are supposed to be for the kids to figure out all stuff. Practice is where you're coaching, you're teaching, you're learning, right? But once the game starts, if you have to tell them where to stand or how to take their touch or who to pass to, then you've already failed, right? But coaches feel that pressure from the parents who they want to see their coach on the sideline going, over here, over here. They want to see like a 7-year-old, a coach at a 7-year-old game at like Pep Guardiola, like kind of jumping around and doing this and doing that.
They're animated.
And there's a time and place for that. I can't say that I've never been animated at a youth game, but I usually try to save the theatrics for when I feel like the kids are low energy. And it's not so much because I need to teach them something. It's because I want, like, I know what you guys want, and this is what you're missing in this game. It's not technical ability. It's not this. It's energy. It's enthusiasm. It's like a belief that even though that call in the first half was a bad call and we gave up a goal on it and we can't get that goal back, we got to forget about that one and move on to the next one. And the only way you do that is if you pick your head up and you start playing your butt off in the second half. It's not about like dwelling on that or having a coach who's complaining to the referee, 15 minutes after a foul happened. Like, we all have to move on. So anyway.
No, I agree. I tell my players, I tell my parents, like, I say, like, like, just like, we're not going to be perfect as an organization. We're not going to be perfect as players or coaches, whatever. Like, referees aren't going to be perfect either. Like, they're going to make mistakes. They're going to make wrong calls. Especially when it's young kids, or, sometimes we see the older gentlemen that are, out there running. Like, we have a referee shortage, and we're not doing them any service by yelling and screaming them and ripping their heads off. Like,
I wouldn't be a referee.
No, I wouldn't be either, and like, it's like, that's why I try to tell them, like, to a degree, but I was kind of like, expect it to be wrong sometimes. Like, expect it to be wrong and just embrace it. Like, again, like, it's not going to change. And there's times, like, if it's like, obviously, the only time I'll step up and speak to referees, and like, I've never yelled at any official ever as a coach. Never a philosophy. I believe it. But anyway, I digress. But the whole point of it is like, for me, I want to make sure that, if there's something that's like a little bit threatening to the kid's safety, of course I'll step up and speak out. But if there's something that I'll like, I thought was maybe wrong at halftime, I might be like, hey, sir, ma'am, whoever the referee is, like, hey, just what did you see on that one? Just let me pick your brain. And like, well, I saw this, and I'll let them explain themselves, and I'll be like, all right, cool. No, I just wanted to see what you saw. I wanted to see what your opinion was. And then I'll step away and be like, appreciate you guys. You guys are doing a good job. Even if they're not, I still say that, because, and then I'll go to the kids and be like, hey, they got that one wrong, but let them know, like, but hey, like, there's nothing we do about it. We move on. We trust the process. We play, and we trust what we're going to do, and, let's get a good outcome.
You don't know how many times that we've had parents, and you hear it all the time, the parents going like, this is an 8-year-old or 9-year-old, and they'll say things like, oh, that kid's dirty. He's playing dirty. He's playing dirty. He did that intentionally. I'm sorry. I don't see that in kids. I don't see that in 8, 9-year-old kids, that they're out there trying to take somebody's legs out, hurt somebody intentionally. I've never seen it. I've never once felt like
there's been a few instances. Very rare. It's extremely rare though.
What I see is kids trying their hardest to 100%. Win and do their best. And
if they whack it, sometimes they'll whack a kid.
They're gonna whack a kid, and they don't mean to. They're not trying to.
It's not malicious,
even if he does it over and over and over again. But I think the more the parents can realize that, like, they're just kids, man.
It's not that deep.
Like they make hard fouls, they make mistakes. They don't know how to, like, all of them don't know how to, like, put their hand out, help somebody up, and then be like, that's my bad. They don't know how to do that yet.
Sure.
All they're trying to do is, like,
just compete
and do their hardest. And who can blame them? They're listening to parents up and down the sidelines, like, screaming because they want the best for their kids too. I don't know. It's, first of all, hopefully it doesn't come off like it's all bad, because it's not.
No.
There's so many, we've definitely made strides.
Yeah, huge strides in building.
To just try to like develop a culture where people feel confident that like, look, the coach has it under control. You don't need to talk to the referee. Or I'm talking about the parents. Parents, you don't need to talk to the referee.
Don't need a coach on the sideline.
We can take care of that.
Yep.
And it's kind of fun now when you get parents who like, a kid will come in and maybe he'll be moved from another team for one tournament or moved around, and there'll be a parent who gets a little amped up and he starts coaching the kids, and we'll have some parents who look down and say like, hey, they got this. They've been doing this for 3 years.
Yeah.
They don't need your advice on who to pass to. They have this under control.
Yep.
So that's how we know we're doing the right thing.
Amen. 100%. And that, to your point too, about like, you know, the coaching side of it, you know, but the parents on the sideline, just in general, you alluded to it a little bit ago about like, you know, coaching for me. Like I like, you know, I like to coach Monday through Thursday, because we train Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, 4 days a week. I coach Monday through Thursday. Friday through Sunday, the term I like to use is I like to manage. You know, I manage the games. I'll manage subs, but you know, like you said, there's those coaches. Sometimes they're up and they're like, switch it, drop it, shoot, pod, blah, but like literally, I call it joysticking. They're, you know, they're literally joysticking their players, telling what to do, and I'm over here, obviously on the other side, where I'll sit. I'm taking notes on my iPad. I used to have my tactics board, but now I have an iPad that I like to take notes on. But you know, taking notes on my iPad about some things I might notice or see, whether, you know, it's things in their press or things in our press or format, whatever it is. Just taking notes on things, little talking points. And of course, I'm still very up, like good vibes and encouraging and loud. Like if a good moment happens, like, you know, I'm brilliant, well done, like encouraging, but I'm not giving guidance, because for me, I want to make sure that they're making the decisions, either consciously or subconsciously. They're making the decisions. If I'm making it for them, I'm doing a disservice in their development, you know? And it's very important for me. And then like, if there's an individual moment where something could have been better, play's gone, let's say it goes out for a goal kick or whatever, you know, I'm saying, hey, kiddo, in that moment, paint the picture. Like, that this was set up, what's the better decision, whatever it is. Oh, I should have done this. Bingo, good recognition. Let's apply it now. You know, but the only coaching that I do in those tournaments and in those games, bring them in at halftime. All right, hey, look, are they high pressing or low pressing? Right? Oh, they're low pressing. Okay, so what's the trigger? Like, you know, when we talk about those concepts of getting them to recognize it and make the decisions themselves, whether it be conscious or subconscious, so now they can go apply it. And I could just sit back and take notes and just watch and give encouragement, you know? You know, when good things happen, of course, kind of you said, if there's poor intensity or poor effort or poor attitude, I step up, I'll be like, hey, like, that's not okay, you know? Because I teach every single one of my kids, you know, especially, you know, that now that I have a lot of girls teams, is, you know, the way I coach boys is a lot different than the way I coach girls, you know?
Okay, why?
Why? Well, obviously, because, you know, girls typically have to appeal to their emotions a lot more, you know, a lot more emotional. Boys generally, you know, can like need that, like, you know, more kind of tough love. You know, not always, of course, every individual kid's a little bit different. There's girls who respond to like, no, I need you to be hard on me. Okay. Yeah. You know, I'll be hard. I'll be very, very demanding, you know, but the norm is typically a little bit more girls have to appeal the emotions, kind of be that, you know.
So what I'm hearing, and what I think every coach should do, what every good coach should do, is like, you have to find every kid what they need.
100%.
Boy, girl, center mid, striker, 15-year-old, 7-year-old. They all have something that they need and what they react to. And a good coach might try out a couple different tactics before they get there, right? So there's one kid who, you know, if you ream him out in front of if I go hard at my son, if I go hard at Major, watch out for the next 15 minutes, because he's going to be an animal, right? If I go hard at this other kid in front of everybody, he melts down, right? And you have to figure, so those are the times you pull that, like, you stop practice and you pull this kid aside and bring him in. I'm like, quietly talking. Nobody can hear what we're saying, right? And it's a way to know that, look, it's okay to make mistakes. I got you, but I'm going to meet you where you need to be to kind of get better. Like, the point is, boys, girls, whatever, it's important to just find what they need. Find what they need. Find the coaching style that works for them. And it's not going to work. And that might be drastically different than who you are as a person. You know what I mean? I mean, like, I'm not a big disciplinarian, I'm not like the guy who like rules with an iron fist and this and like, however, there's been kids who I knew that like, listen, you've been such a distraction. Go sit over there for 15 minutes. We can't have you in the session.
Yep.
And it's really hard for me. I don't like doing it.
Yeah, I'm kind of the same way.
Like, but
Very much so.
after trying all of it, it took me trying I'm going to be your friend method. It took me trying, all right, let's be a little harder. Let's challenge you. It took me pulling you aside. It took me challenging you in front of everybody, all of those things until I'm like, look, man, like, so I'm trying to help you, but you have to work with me too.
Yep.
So I'll go sit over there for a little bit and we'll talk about it after practice. Right?
Sure.
These kids are dealing with all sorts of stuff.
Ah.
Like we've coached kids who I left practice and I told my wife, I was like, that kid could be, he could be the best. He could get a college scholarship and go play, or he could, he could be in jail. And like depending on the type of coaching they get, the type of environment they're in, like it could go all those different ways.
Yep.
So how am I going to impact that? What do I want to do in that situation? Do I are some of these kids difficult to deal with? By the way, it's a very small percentage.
Yeah, of course.
You're going to have those situations, but you have to meet those kids where they're at because you're trying to help these kids reach their potential, whatever it is.
Yep.
That's the only reason I'm here.
Yep.
I think that's the only reason that's the only reason why I got involved in the club. Again, we talked about how, whatever my experience, but I wanted to be here because I wanted to be a positive influence.
Yeah.
And I wanted kids to look back, and remember that they had fun at practice. I wanted them to like remember some of those times. And I always tried to be somebody who could balance out the other coach I was working with and bring, so Paler, I wouldn't call him he's not the fun coach.
No.
Right. He's very serious. Yeah. There was Paler went away. He went back to England for a week.
Yep.
I was in charge of running practices.
Yep.
And just for fun that night, we had a group and I took them all out and we're like, all right, let's do free kicks for a while. And they're like, I want to go first.
Yeah,
I'm like, you know what? Here's how I'm going to decide who goes first. We're going to do a gritty contest. Whoever does the best gritty, gets to take the free kicks. So we did it. Some of the kids didn't know. I taught them how to do the gritty.
Yeah.
Cut to the next game. Paler's back. We're down. We go down early. We came off super flat. Second half, we score a goal to take the lead again. 8 kids gritty up the field. And Paler loses his mind. He's like, who taught those kids that dance? Who did that? And I'm like,
you're over here. I don't know.
That's on me, coach. But if I can't teach the kids dancing and if I can't teach them how to have fun, if I can't be somebody who then like, I don't know if I should be here. Like they need some of that. But again, you're trying to reach the kids where they're at.
Yep.
And you're trying to be somebody they can look back on. It's like, that coach was awesome.
Absolutely.
That coach really helped me. Like I didn't always agree with him or didn't this, but that coach really helped me.
Yep. No, I like you alluded to the goal celebrations. I like to tell kids, hey, what's the goal celly today? And they'll think on it. They'll be like I'm gonna do Mbappe. I'm gonna do I'm like whatever it is. It's fun. But yeah, but I agree with you, man. Like Dan, I just providing, talking about like there's a way I want to coach my team, and like there's a standard. So I always tell them like I'm gonna set the bar for you initially, right? Mm-hmm. This is the standard. This is the bar. Right? Every time they break through that ceiling, I go, okay, cool. You've now raised the bar yourselves. For me, I'm gonna hold you to that standard now.
Yeah.
Right? Because you guys have shown me that's what you're capable of. Mm-hmm. I'd be doing you a disservice by saying, well, my bar for you was here. No, like you guys rose it yourself. And it's a way that we can continually progress. And it's not just with things like as soccer players, of course, there's things on and off the field. I want there's a way we do things. You talk about building a team identity, team culture, club culture. For example, I said when we show up to training, like we make sure all of our bags are lined up in a row, face the same direction, so we don't look like a Sunday league, just our stuff thrown everywhere. Same thing for games. Like the way we show up, we're not showing up wearing different stuff. We're not like, we show up wearing the same gear. We show up, lining up our bags, like all that stuff, the way we handle ourselves, the way we warm up, the way we talk to each other, all of that. There's an overall standard with the team, but then going to what you were saying before with the individuals, like, the way I talk to this kid and this kid's going to be very, very different. And, getting all of them to understand, like, it's okay to make mistakes. I tell them all the time, like, I'm never going to yell at you for making a mistake. Even if it's a technical error, I've had quite a few happen this season. There was a few this past weekend. and my girls' team's couple technical errors that led to goals, like in a phase 1 situation, right? Literally like trying to build out. All this movement's brilliant, and then one poor touch into pressure, lose it. You know, like I'm not gonna be like, "What are you doing?" Like, you know, like several coaches might do. Like, it's got to be better and blah. Like, I'll be like, "Hey, you know, let's be cleaner. We're good. Shake it off. I don't care about it, right? As long as the attitude, the reaction from the mistake is positive, cool. Like we learn from it. Now we move on. Let's, you know, let's go get one back, you know? And it always, my approach to everything is making sure that these kids understand it's okay to take risks and make mistakes, you know, take risks in the right moments.
The kids respond to your energy too.
That too.
The kids respond
100%.
to the coach's energy. They respond to all the energy around them, which is why, again, I've always felt comfortable. I've always brought like my performer background to coaching. Like whether it was, first of all, I definitely took this stance when I was coaching like my son's first rec team or my daughter's first rec team. It's like being a youth coach, you kind of have to be a performer. Because the kids feed off of your energy.
100%.
So if you show up down, they're going to kind of play down. They'll start messing around. But if you show up with more energy than them and you're moving around, then they respond to that. Right. And it's just about like high-fiving everybody, giving pats on the back. What's up? Knuckle, going around. It's not about yelling all over the field, but there is a performance aspect. Like when we started Next Level, we had to get our Future Stars session started. Which is our youngest people. It's 3 to 5 years old. It's essentially rec. It's essentially like, we need you touching the ball. We need you having fun. We want you to fall in love with the sport. A grandma came in while we were having like a ownership meeting and was like, listen, guys, my son is 3 years old and wants to play soccer, and I'm not leaving here until you guys offer a 3 to 5 year old class, which first of all is pretty bold for a lady to come in.
Sure.
But you know, she was an older woman without a filter, so we let it go. And I was like, and one of the owners like, you know, we really need to do this. And I was like, all right, I'll do it. I'll coach I'll coach the Future Star sessions, right? And for the first year and a half that we had those Future Star sessions, again, I'm still touring on the weekends. I'm doing this. I came in here several times a week and taught the Future Stars. And when you came in, like these kids had, I mean, this is not a knock because they're beginners, but most of them had very little experience and skill in soccer and very little skill. They were just kids who were learning to play the game. And if I came in with a crap attitude, none of them would be in the club. Right? None of them would have, but I came in and I did exactly what I do in every situation. I turn it into performance just like I do on stage. I'm not naturally a super outgoing, super all over the place person, but I do it on stage because that's what you need to put on a good show. And that's what I do. That's what I did in these youth sessions. And so we had all these kids. When I left, we had put one of our other top coaches in these sessions who also has high energy. And now, wouldn't you know it, a bunch of those kids make up the core of our, 2017s and 2016 teams who are all ballers. Right? Now, first of all, I didn't teach them anything about, I taught them very little about the skills necessary. But what I did was I made it so that when they came in, they looked forward to coming back again. Right? And it was because it wasn't that I was teaching them the scissor or the step over. It was because after they did the scissor or the step over, I had them do a dance break and I let them dance for 10 seconds. Or after I did that, I let them play freeze tag and I tricked them. I had this whole performance where I would trick them into learning the skills they need to stay in the game, to get to the next step of their development, just long enough so we could see a little bit more of who they are. And hopefully there's a coach at that point who also embraces that concept and can get them in the sport to the next step. And before you know it, we're at their 14, 15, 16 years old. They've hit puberty. We know more or less where their brain is at. Do they want to still be a soccer player, or are they going to go do they want to sit around and play guitar all the time?
Do they want to start a boy band?
And do they want to start a boy band? That, like, honestly, that's what you're trying to do, right? You're like, there's all sorts of natural talent, but ultimately they'll make the decision when they get to that point. But if you want to be a professional athlete, and there's kids here, you can tell from the first time they touch a ball, they have a chance, right? But they can't just flip that on at 15, 16 in a sport like soccer. You kind of have to have some reps leading up to it. And then from there, they can make the decision. Like, I was kind of a late bloomer to music. Like,
Sure.
I didn't like dive in and be like, you know what, this is what I want to do. Some of it was due to like lack of opportunity in a small town. Some of it was maybe like lack of confidence or whatever. But once I got into it, I was all in.
Yep.
And sports, you have to have a little bit more of the reps behind the scenes.
Yep.
To get to that point.
No, absolutely. I agree. Like I've kind of learned that, like, I feel like, you know, at a young age, a lot of the, that like confidence on the ball, specifically like technical quality and confidence to be like, go be a special player. A lot of that kind of comes from the culture, the environment, the coach that they're around sometimes when they're at a young age. And then ultimately, like you just said, when it's that time to make, like, you know, if they want to go reach those high levels, that needs to be like inherent self-driven.
Yep.
You know, if they are depending on, because I mean, at the highest levels, of course, you know, you can't like lean on a coach and be like, hey, I need you to give me if you're underperforming, it's cutthroat. Like, you know, you'll get cut, you'll get dry. Same at the college level, obviously, of course, and of course, the professional level, you know, like, you know, you see what happened with several professionals throughout their careers. You know, you look at players like, you know, Dele Alli is a perfect example. All of this unlimited potential, fantastic, promising young talent when he was going through Tottenham, you know, several years ago. And, you know, I think his career came up shorter than what it could have been with his talent he has, you know, and that's no dig on him. Obviously, I wish I had his ability, of course, and we all do, but, you know, but like there's several of these professionals that kind of have dips in their performance, and they talk about the main thing for them is confidence, you know, and, you know, once that's kind of dropped, it's hard sometimes to.
There are, I could name a billion people, not a billion, I don't know them, but
Sure,
there are, let's just say, there are thousands of people who are so much more talented than me as a musician, as a singer, as a performer, as a this. But like, there are certain things that when you get your opportunity, you take it,
grab it,
and you don't let go of that son of a gun until you reach whatever you want to do. And that's the only reason why I'm still performing now. Is because like, once you have your opportunity and once you have that thing that makes you feel a certain way, you just go with it. And you can't let go. You have to make sure you're working harder than everybody else at that point. We did it. Our band sucked in the beginning.
Sure.
We were so bad. There's a clip on the reality show of me at the first rehearsal with the 4 guys who had been there for a while. And I come in and the vocal coach has them sing the national anthem, which they had been working on. And I showed up, it was the first day, and I had heard these 4 guys sing. And I was like, oh man. And the vocal coach says, and this is on camera, he's like, if I was Dan right now, I would just go home, because like these guys, and I asked the vocal coach, like, can you step out for a second? And we had this conversation. I was like, look guys, I was like, I don't know what you guys have been doing since you've been here, but with me, I'm going to make sure that now that we're here, let's just bust our ass. Like, let's work really hard. Like, let's do X, Y, and Z. Cause I left a life to come here for this opportunity. At that point, we didn't know we were going to be famous. We didn't know we'd sell a million records, but I did know that we were going to be on TV on Friday nights, and I didn't want to look like an idiot. So, maybe it was just at that moment and we all came together, but we still sucked for years. We sucked for a long time.
Sure.
Now we go on stage, it's like riding a bike. I don't have to think about it, you know, and we have like a natural thing, but you have to work through all of the bad times to get to that. And it takes a lot of hard work. It takes like rehearsing for 12 hours a day. Before we got signed, we would lock ourselves in a rehearsal studio, in a sweaty rehearsal studio in Orlando, and rehearse because we hadn't made it yet. We didn't have a lot of money. So it was just the 5 of us, and we would rehearse from 10 a.m. until 6 p.m. And then we'd get out and we'd go take a break. And then we'd go to the gym. And then we'd finally get home around 10 p.m. and we just do the next thing again, because we didn't know when our opportunity would come up. And when it came up, we had to be ready to take advantage of it. So like that's what it is. I'm not a professional athlete.
Sure.
But there is some parallels there.
Oh, absolutely.
Right.
I mean, in anything, to be successful in anything, same thing with, a business, like whatever it is. And that's where, kind of, which like alludes me to like, or that's not the right word, but like kind of takes me to my next point is like, not only is this going to help them become a better player, but it's going to help give them the right tools to be successful in life. That's obviously, our job as coaches, like, for example, like, I have, there's been, or like if let's say there's a kid that's, struggling with something, mentally, whatever, emotionally, whatever.
Yeah.
And they're like, well, I don't want to go to practice. It's like, all right, well, if you have a job in your life, and you don't show up for that job, if you just don't show up, there's repercussions for that.
Yeah.
And it's a similar thing like for here, like even if you're going through stuff, like, you show up, and that's what for me as a coach, I let, especially with my girls, I let everybody know like, hey, if there's something, talk to me. I'm here for you. I'm not going to put you down or whatever, even if it's got to be very private and personal, like whatever. Mm-hmm. I'm here for you and we'll get through it together, and I'll provide an avenue for you to be successful. But like, if you don't show up,
what I've realized though, is that there's only a very small percentage of the kids who are comfortable enough opening up and talking like that to anybody, let alone their coach.
Sure.
Maybe they're probably not their parents. So lots of times it's about like the times I've kicked myself were like, I remember there was a kid who played with us for years and years and years with the 12s. He was a really good athlete, a promising player, but he never kind of reached like whatever potential he never quite got to his potential. And I just noticed, I remember I was trying to find the right way to connect with him because I could see in practice, he was getting down on himself and he was doing this. And a lot of times what I've tried to do is I try to text their parent on the side after practice or do things. But for some reason I didn't in this case. And I would be like, come on. I was trying to encourage him and pump him up. And like, I tried all the different ways until one day the dad is just like, hey, he's going to take a break for a while. He's going to try a different sport. And those are the times where you kick yourself, right? As a coach, because you like I wonder
what could I have
if
done
I had pulled him aside or if he had talked to me, but like, as long as your heart is in the right place, that's kind of the best you can do.
Yep.
Right. And you have to just, now granted, I didn't think I wasn't trying, or I wasn't mean to the kid. I wasn't belittling him.
Yep.
But I saw something was there and I just asked the parent, and I think the parents and the kids appreciate it if you pull them aside and be like, hey man, everything good? Like, what's going on with this kid? Sometimes it'd be like, I did this recently. I was like, hey, what's going on with such and such? He hasn't been to practice. And like, oh, well, he's been injured, but I don't know. He's kind of been wavering on the sport. And it's good to know that because the more you communicate with the parents, the more you know, like, okay, now that I know that, that's going to affect the way I talk to this kid in practice and how I give him his next critique and how I do this and how what team I put him on, who I put him on a team with when we're playing drills in practice. There has to be communication because it all kind of falls apart without it. I
agree. No, it's sometimes, we could try to do everything right, like you mentioned, but there's ultimately sometimes there's nothing, that we can't do. Yeah. Or there's nothing that we can do, I should say. And it's always sad to see, 'cause especially, coaches like yourself and me that like have so much pride and love and care for these kiddos that, that we're coaching, I'm not like, they're not disposable for me. If I lose a kid, I'm heartbroken, for, if it's cause, they have to move or, they move to another team or whatever it is. It's just like, dang, like I get emotional about it. Cause, I invest so much emotion and time into these kids, I care about all of them. And ultimately I just, at the end of the day, of course I want to develop them as players, but I also want to develop to be good young human beings. Yeah. But also just like, I just want them to be happy. And if soccer's not providing that for them and, their love and their passion is just is somewhere else, then go do that. That's totally acceptable. That's totally okay. I'm not going to be like kicking rocks and being like, oh, maybe like, I'm not going to throw a fit. I'm going to be like, hey, like, I'm still going to be here. If like, I'm still Coach Danny, you're not a stranger for me. Yep. Like if and when, like, I mean, there's kids that I've coached in the past that no longer play the sport. And are, in other sports, in football and basketball and whatever else, BMX. And, these kids still come watch me play for the UPSL games.
Yep.
They still show up. Their families still invite me to birthday parties and things like that, to be involved in like that type of stuff. Like it makes me feel good that like, at the end of the day, like, even though I'm not their coach anymore, I still have a positive impact on their life enough where they are excited to see me and want me to be around and be there for them. So it's very, very rewarding, even if, I can't be their coach every single day, so.
I have a random question.
Yep.
How old are you?
26.
Okay. So number one, that means that you weren't even born when my first album came out.
I was born in 99. I was born in 1999.
Okay, so you were born, but okay, that makes me feel super old. That's okay. And also that explains why when people are like, "Oh yeah, that's Coach Dan from O-Town," like you had no clue.
Yep.
But what I was going to say, and the reason why I asked is because like it's important for us as a club to find young coaches who are passionate about the sport, who have the right energy, but who are going to make mistakes, and provide a situation where they can and provide a situation and encouragement to kind of grow.
Yep.
Right? Because young coaches right now are going to be the ones who change the sport at the youth level.
Yep.
Like what I've found when we started this is the older coaches, the ones who have been around for a long time, usually are jaded by something that's happened in the past, or they're carrying 20-year-old coaching styles and methods of yelling, belittling, screaming at the refs, being hard on the kids, making them run till they puke at youth level. But it's the young coaches who realize that, all right, there's something different that has to happen. And we as a club are also trying to be that club who are doing something differently. We realize that like what's been happening to a large extent hasn't worked, both in the US, in Arizona, in the youth game. So why would we keep doing that same, that's it, right?
Yeah.
So the challenge for us is finding young coaches like you who are willing to learn, who have the right energy, and who put the time and effort into the kids. So like the license, the experience, the number of tournaments you won with your last club really don't matter.
Yep.
Right? Like, do you show up every day? Are you an adult for the kids? And do you treat the kids with like, do you create an environment and foster an environment that's positive for the kids? That's all we can ask for young coaches.
I agree.
It's the older ones that we struggle with sometimes.
Sure.
But anyway, I don't know. I know I got off topic there, but like it's good to hear. Like we need more people who are young and energetic and realize the impact that they can have.
Yep.
A kid is going to relate to you so much better than they will to some 50 or 60-year-old person who comes in and tries to coach them like what 6'7" means. Like the other coach doesn't know.
Yeah.
Like, so he can't.
Well, I mean, I know it's a thing. I still don't know what it means.
You're right. I don't know either.
I'll do it with the kids. I'm like, 6'7".
Yeah. I mean, it is like cool. I think it pretty much means nothing. I think it's like mid. Like 6'7" is like out of 10, you're like a 6'7", kind of like mid, kind of like, you're kind of like, so.
I still don't even know. Well, it's
so,
like,
so it took the old guy to teach you what 6'7". No, seriously. I'm just saying.
I know, but it's like, no, I'm it was obviously like one of my things about, like making sure we have all of our balls at the end of training, because if we don't, it's a problem, So when the kids are counting all the balls, make sure they go on the ball bag, they'll be like 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Now I'm like, I hate you guys. They're crazy. Especially, I mean, actually, all my girls team, they're crazy in their own way. Because my 16s, they're like so they're obviously very young, so they're just a little bit crazy in their young way. And then my 10s and 11 girls, they're like, that tween age, young high school age. So I'm like, they're crazy in that way.
Yeah.
So yeah, I get my fair share of gray hair. I don't actually have gray hair yet. They might give them.
Yeah, that's rude.
We'll see.
To tell like a mid 40-year-old guy that you're worried about gray hairs, get out of here with that.
Whatever.
Get out of here with that.
No, but what were we saying before? We talked about the 6'7" thing. I don't even know. Speaking of which, for anybody watching, And any next level people, be ready for home game UPSL this weekend, Sunday.
Oh, home game Sunday.
Home game Sunday, Higley High School.
Oh, this weekend's the whiteout, right?
Whiteout on Sunday.
Okay.
Hopefully I score so I can bring. It's already been known now, but we got the new next level celebration, right? Where it's got the N, got the L.
I see. I'm old, but I get it.
Yeah,
I got you.
Well, it started. Like there's all the pro athletes that play for LA. They do the whole LA thing.
It's nice.
So I was like, and I remember because I was watching a game or it was highlights, I think, and it was somebody that did that, and I was just like, I'm sure we could do that with it. Like there's some way somehow we can make an N and an L, So I'm like looking in the mirror after I watched that, and I'm looking in the mirror for, I'm not kidding, like 20 minutes, just trying to figure out like how do I make this work, and I'm like, oh, I got it, and then I'd realize, oh wait, no, it's backwards. And then ultimately, I finally figured it out.
I can't believe you're sitting at home for 20 minutes trying to figure it.
Bored, whatever. It's a fun. It's fun. Josh is shaking his head in the back.
That's okay.
Hey, fun goal celly for all the kids and stuff.
It's fun for you, but it's fun for the kids, which is why you do it.
But part of it, like you said, building a team culture, having something that's kind of like fun for us. It's I thought it was kind of cool. But
all right, hold on. I have a random thing. I'm a creative, so I just go off.
Yeah, no. Vibes.
What was your first concert you ever went to?
Oh, this is actually a good question. My first concert, you'll like this. Steve Miller Band.
Oh, what? Really?
Steve Miller Band.
Oh, that's good.
It was at the Arizona State Fair. I want to say my twin brother and I, me and Robbie, we were probably
How
about
old were you?
6 or 7. But I want to say we were around 7. But like I've only been to, I think maybe of like my generation of music, of like people that I grew up listening to, like whether it's the early the 2000s, like all the pop artists and stuff.
So
and then
who are your favorite artists growing up?
I mean, so when I was a kid, you of course you grow up listening to your parents' music. So that's what I was gonna say. I've been to dozens and dozens of concerts, but all of them were when I was a young kid, and they were all my parents' music. So it was I'd seen Journey twice. John Bon Jovi twice. I've seen Daughtry 2 or 3 times. Chris Daughtry. I've seen Boston, Styx, Def Leppard, Foreigner, like all the like old like rock bands. Like those are all the concerts I went to growing up. So just when I'm a little kid, those are the kind of the songs I listened to. But then obviously as I got older, being in school obviously influenced, listening to obviously like old Chris Brown, old Lil Wayne, obviously all the
old Chris Brown and old Lil Wayne.
Yeah.
Okay.
Well, I mean, because obviously there's the current version, they still make music, but like the early 2000s, but then obviously as a young kid, parents tend to try to keep you away from rap, so didn't really listen to that as much when I was younger. But obviously as I got older, get into that a bit. But it was a lot of of course the. Okay. All the 2000, the Katy Perry's, the Lady Gaga's, the Kesha's, all those crazy hit Rihanna's, like all those.
And you liked all that stuff?
Well, I mean, those are all the songs that were big when we were. Bruno Mars, I loved Bruno Mars when I was a kid.
Who was your high school, or who was like your celebrity crush growing up?
Celebrity crush? Transformers, Megan Fox when I was a kid.
Okay.
That was kind of the first one.
All right.
Yeah, I'm getting the thumbs up from Josh in the back. I mean, yeah. But and then there was a few obviously growing up, through shows. I liked Ariana Grande.
You're all over the place, man.
Yeah, it's the spectrum's everywhere.
Do you know who Marky Mark is?
Marky, yeah, I know Marky Mark.
Do you know Marky Mark, who's now Mark Wahlberg, the actor?
Marky Wahlberg.
That was my first concert. Marky Mark and the Funky Bunch.
Mm-hmm. Yep. No, he's obviously, my mom, very big Mark Wahlberg fan. It was understandable. If I could look as good as him when I'm in my 50s now.
That was probably your mom's celebrity crush.
Yeah. My mom, I know, completely off topic. We're just talking about nonsense now. I do know my mom, she liked, when I was like a little kid, she had Mark Grace played for the Diamondbacks.
Yeah.
My mom.
The Giants and, right? And
for the A's, Cubs.
Yeah.
It was the Cubs, and then came over, won a World Series. My mom, she liked Mark Grace a lot. And then, and then like the Mark Wahlberg, that aesthetic. But no, then
your mom had a crush on Mark Grace. Is that what you're saying?
Yeah, my mom liked Mark Grace. That was a thing for her. And then And then like obviously when Robbie and I got older and then we got into soccer, she appreciated the looks of Cristiano. She appreciated that.
Okay.
Which I'm like, all right, makes sense.
Makes sense, mom.
But yeah, I mean, obviously grew up completely different time.
Yeah.
Was there, celebrity crush? I mean, it was probably a bit of my maybe 90s era, maybe 80s.
Yeah. I mean, I graduated high school in 1998.
98. Okay.
The first crush I can remember was Janet Jackson.
Janet Jackson.
This was like that's the way love goes era.
Yep.
Janet Jackson.
Yeah.
She was one of the first crush. Pamela Anderson on Baywatch. Made an impression.
Yeah, that's a good
made
choice.
an impression on young Dan. But a very different time.
Oh, for sure.
A very different era. But I took us on a tangent.
No,
I don't mind.
It's just vibes.
I was trying to find what did you think of, here's a question.
Yeah.
What did you think of boy bands when you were growing up?
Oh, there was, a lot of them. Obviously, you have Backstreet Boys, NSYNC, all the usuals.
Mhm.
But I grew up when Big Time Rush, One Direction. I grew up during that time. So did I listen to them religiously? I actually Big Time Rush. I watched the show when I was a little kid, so I enjoyed that. But I didn't have this because that was also the time where it was starting to kind of, obviously the boy band era was, you're in it.
Yeah.
So,
Well, I think the boy band era started going like that because boy bands, they changed.
Yeah.
I'm not saying they weren't good because they're still good, but they also weren't as good.
Sure. Yeah. I get it.
I'm not saying they weren't good,
Yeah.
but they weren't. And what I mean by that is it became a little bit more stand around, jump around than a little bit more of just
Show
we're going to
shit.
dance our faces off.
Yep.
Can
you teach me some dance moves, by the way? I can move, so.
I don't know about that.
All right. Fair.
I can teach you the gritty.
You teach me the gritty?
I've done that before.
Well, actually,
I'm good at that.
Yeah, that's fair. No, a lot of the, I have good feet, of course, being a soccer player, so I'm very coordinated, but I don't know, shuffling, any sort of shuffling, whether the running man, all that type of stuff, very, very, very smooth with all that type of stuff. So
if you had just saved 20 minutes and just done the running man as a celebration when you score a goal, you could have saved yourself some time, bro.
Could do. That's fair. Yeah, that's 20 minutes I probably won't get back anymore, but whatever.
That's right. That's 20, but that's okay. That's all right.
Yeah.
All good.
Would the gritty be your Sally?
No, I would do something that would embarrass my kids and my wife. I'd probably try to find something that was embarrassing.
Oh, okay. That instantly, obviously, growing up playing FIFA, there's some those cringy FIFA, when you score and you do it just to make the rage bait the opponent you're playing against. There's a few that come to mind. There's one you're literally running and skipping, but you're throwing your arms spastically.
Oh yeah,
something like that.
Yeah, I could do something like that.
All right,
maybe the earthworm.
That would be a good one too. That would be good.
Maybe the earthworm.
I want to know what Josh's goal celebration would be. Would it be a dinger into the crowd? Whatever. All right. But anyway, coming back, steering the ship back a little bit. Wanted to bring up, so because I still have no idea how Shields, our sponsor for the UT, I know we wear it on our uniforms. They're so nice that they have a next level mannequin and they're inside their store with whatever, but with our uniform. But how did that? I don't even know. You probably know in ownership. How did that even happen?
Well, it's a long story, but ultimately, all we're looking for from the club is there's any number of businesses in the area who are willing to put some sponsorship dollars towards the club.
Sure.
Right. But truthfully, that wasn't what we were looking for. We were looking for people who kind of believed in what we were doing and kind of saw and believed that we're trying to do something different.
Yep.
We're a different type of club with different type of goals, and we're trying. And so we wanted somebody who believed in that vision as well. And so Shields had just moved to Chandler here.
Yep.
They had a store owner who really wanted to make an impact in the community at the time, and like reached out. We had a couple people. It all came together very quickly.
Sure.
We went from having, not having. We had a couple things that kind of came up across the way, but usually fizzled out. But Shields, from like the first meeting to the end, was very quick, and we're very appreciative of what they brought. Obviously wear their name across the chest of all of our jerseys. They're around at a lot of our events. They're in a lot of situations, and their store is awesome. They got a freaking Ferris wheel in there.
Yeah,
they got a freaking Ferris wheel in their store. So, and more important than that is, we really feel like they believe in the vision that we do.
Yeah.
So, yeah, hopefully it's a long partnership, and but like, that's all we can ask for, is for people and businesses who see what we're doing. There's a lot of bad in youth sports.
Yep.
So if you can find some people who are interested in doing good and helping the people that want to do good, making it cheaper for people to play, then we have to stick with them for as long as
Absolutely.
we can. So
I'm with you.
So, but yeah, I mean, there isn't some big crazy story about it. The truth is just like, it
just happened.
Everything happened, man.
Yeah, no, that's
Everything
fair.
happened.
Well, the thing I like about it too is like, well, it's completely different. It's like literally just an aesthetic thing. It's always like watching like professionals, right? Where they'll have this absolutely clean uniform, like clean, where it's like, oh, that's sharp. But then they have this like, like, not that the actual brand or company or whatever is bad, but the logo of it across their chest is just unesthetically pleasing. You know what I mean?
I totally know what you mean.
You know what I'm saying?
I totally know what you mean,
But
because
simple.
hold on, I'm a graphic designer. So after the band, and like, I went back to college and got my degree.
Love it.
And I got a degree in graphic design. I do all the design for the club. So you have no idea how excited I was when I looked at their logo and what they wanted on there, and it's just clean,
It's just some
simple
shields.
block. It's not some crazy thing that's like all over the jersey. Wham, right there. Perfect. You're right.
I'm with you. Like a good example for me. I'm a Chelsea fan. Do you have a team, by the way?
We support Man City.
Man City?
The Miller household.
Man City.
Yeah.
Love it. But no, so like this was a few years ago. I don't remember how long it was, but they had these uniforms that are actually pretty sharp, but I don't even know what the actual brand or the sponsor was. But it was you might remember a few years ago, it was this big, ugly, like it was like a number 3.
Oh yeah.
Do you remember that?
Yeah.
But I remember like seeing that. I'm like, I don't want to buy that jersey. I don't want to buy that kit this year. Like, I remember, because I'm growing up. So the club I played for Sereno growing up, which isn't a club anymore because they merged with a couple other clubs to form what's now RSL.
Okay.
But we had a partnership with Chelsea. And so every year we would get, brand new Chelsea kits, the home and away. It was not every year, but like most years it was fun. But growing up, it was Samsung. Oh. And the Samsung look, it was just clean and sharp, and it was aesthetically, like, it looked good.
That's right.
So, and then it was my last year there. Their sponsor changed to Yokohama.
Mm-hmm.
And it was just like, I say ugly, just Yokohama. And it was just like, we downgraded so hard, man. Like, it was like, why?
There's something to be said for a balanced logo.
Yeah.
So something that's balanced and simple for that kind of thing.
Yeah.
But
anyway, completely different. But no. Yeah. Talking about logos or whatever.
I know.
But
are we done? Have you heard about me enough? I didn't even want to do this.
No.
To be honest.
Yeah. Dan doesn't like you guys.
I didn't want to do this. I like everybody.
I'm kidding.
But I don't, like I
He
said,
loves everyone. Dan is seriously like, like ever since I've been here, been super supportive of me, and that's why I really appreciate your time being here. And yeah, overall, just thank you. Seriously, appreciate it.
Happy to be here. Happy to keep Next Level moving and helping however I can. And happy to have you, man.
Love it. Appreciate it.
Later.
See ya.